Hello everyone, welcome to this week's change of show this week. It's a Star Wars Chaos show, so we're going to talk all things Star Wars because everybody loves Star Wars. Even the haters hate Star Wars, even the haters love Star Wars. So if you don't know your Kylo Ren from your Boba Fett, then stand by for a bit of enlightenment tonight. So if you feel free to jump in and we can chat all things Star Wars. We'll start with the original trilogy first, and then we'll see how we got on in the hour and a half. We've kind of got a rough idea of what we want to do, but you know us, it never goes smooth sailing. There's always something that kind of pushes us to go somewhere, to a galaxy far, far away. So yeah, how's all your week been? It's hard to believe this is the last Wednesday of January. January is now over, more or less. I mean, nearly made it, folks. We have more or less made it, which is great. So yeah, big things coming in Star Wars this year. We've obviously got the trailer was released for the Maul cartoon, which I'm really looking forward to. Darth Maul is a great character. And then in May we've got the Grogu and Mandalorian film, which will be interesting to watch. Very interesting to see it in the big screen and see where they take this story. And we'll dive into all of that, I'm sure, tonight or over the next few weeks, if we keep doing this. So yeah, big shout out to our sponsors as always, Orange Brushes. Give them a follow, people. They do not just dry brushes, they also do their Kawinski Sable normal painting brushes, which are great quality brushes. So yeah, get on board, use Inquisition in your checkout, 10% off. Right, what's not to love? Everybody loves a cheeky wee discount, and as a Scotsman, I love a discount. And tomorrow, The Apprentice is back tomorrow. How lucky are we that the Lord Sugar has came back and is going to give us another season of The Apprentice.
Come on, Bella.
And that's Geraldine and Bella away up to bed. So yeah, we're just waiting for Casey to come on board now, and then we'll get this show on the road. Isa, stop it. Big night in Champions League as well, so there'll be probably people watching the football tonight. But apart from the Star Wars, before we dive into it, what you're all working on? I am currently working on my Hellbrute. I've blocked in most of the metallics. Well, some of the metallics. I've done all the gold trim. The trim is a bastard. And my boy Typhus has went missing. Where is my boy? Oh, there he is, yeah. Did all the metallics, all the base colours on him yesterday. Blocked in. Did the heavy wash so that the layering will start once I get this all wired up, all the base blocked in. So yeah, what are you all working on? If anybody wants to come on as a guest, then let us know. DM us, let us know if you want to come on, and we'll try and get you on. We are pretty much booked up for February. I think we've only got 3 guests in February. I think we're going to take a wee cheeky episode to ourselves. So I think we've got Warlord Games are definitely coming on. Guy from Warlord Games. We're going to talk about all things Conflict 47 and Bolt Action, and then we delve in with our female only February. We've got 2 brand new guests coming on for February. So yeah, it's going to be another packed month, and then we'll see where we sit come March. Hey, Ministry of Mini Painting, thanks for joining. So we're going to do a Star Wars show tonight, all things. We're going to start with the original, the OGs, so Star Wars before it was renamed Star Wars A New Hope. Empire, which I'll fight anybody that isn't the best Star Wars film. And then Return of the Jedi, which is third of my top. It's the third one out of those 3. It's Empire, then Star Wars / Star Wars A New Hope, episode 4. So yeah, Casey is taking his sweet ass time to join us tonight. So yeah, hopefully Casey will join us soon. But apart from that, yeah, a wee cheeky bank holiday here on Friday. So I think old Hairy Jerry is away Billy Goat mountain climbing somewhere. Hey, come, Master Molotov, how you doing, mate? So she is away Friday, Saturday, and then we've got a bank holiday Monday, so it's a 4-day week this week. I've booked Friday off, and I'm off Monday because it's a cheeky bank holiday, it's St Bridget's Day. So I think the wife was making St Bridget crosses with a work or something mental like that. So yeah. What you all feeling about the? We might as well talk a wee bit about Warhammer just now, before Casey comes in. How do you all feel about the new releases with the red guys? I want to say commissars, but that's not right. And the new. I get a few models coming out now for Chaos. Maybe 2026 is the year of Chaos. So yeah, a lot of models coming out. I was going to jump on the Chaos guys bandwagon, but I ended up buying Conflict 47 and went for the Japanese boys, the Empire of Japan, because why not? Red Corsairs, yeah, that's what it is. I wanted to do Commissars, but I knew it started with a C and needed an S, so I was more or less had an R in it as well, and an A, and an I, and an O, so pretty much had all the letters just in the wrong order with a few extra letters added in. Yeah, the Red Corsairs look cool. I need to look into more about them and learn more about their lore, because they do seem a pretty cool faction. And who doesn't love space pirates? Like, we all love pirates. I'm pretty sure we all watched the Goonies when we were younger, and maybe felt a wee bit sorry for the Fratellis, which is where the band the Fratellis got their name from. There we go, there's a wee cool fact. There he is there, the man of the hour. Never late, always on time, like a wizard. I'm starting now, bud. So yeah, Fratelli's got their name from the Goonies, which is the name of the crime family in the Goonies. So I accepted. There he is there.
What's going on here? Why can't I hear you now?
Maybe you need to turn your volume up.
That's exactly what I needed to do. Yeah. Yes.
How you doing, mate?
My phone was fucked, so I couldn't even message you to say I'd be late.
Mate, we're used to it at this point. Once we get to like 8:30, then we start worrying.
No, I was alright. How far are we in the stories and the layout? What have you told our
Well,
one
I was waiting for you before. I was waiting for you. Just talking about the Red Corsairs and Space Pirates and how the Fratellis got their name from the film The Goonies, and the crime family called the Fratellis in the film.
quite a bit. Cool. Right. So I think, shall we get a bit started?
Yeah, let's get it started, man.
Right. So I'll jump in a little bit with the open and the plan. Obviously, we've only got the one viewer at the moment, which is fine. Absolutely fine. Because obviously we've and ahhed about it for ages, we're doing a little bit of a Star Wars special. Because for me personally, Star Wars is a gateway thing, isn't it? I would say, Donk. You know, there's always that one sci-fi interest you pick up on, and it was always either Star Trek or Star Wars.
Yeah.
And that would quite easily steamroll into other things. You'd end up in 40K, you'd end up in StarCraft, and all sorts of madness.
Babylon 5.
I never really got into that, but I think we'll bring that up later on. But yeah, there were so many different shows and films, and yeah, as Mark's saying, Star Trek was his one. You know, it's a small. It's not a small thing. Either of them are they? Star Trek and Star Wars are probably the massive ones, but they can lead you down the rabbit holes. So I'll tell you what, Don, we'll proceed as a little bit of an interview for now. For those who don't know, how was it that you ended up getting into Star Wars?
I think it was just as a Wayne. Like, the first Star Wars film that I seen in the cinema was Return of the Jedi when it came out.
Okay.
I remember that day 'cause I fell down. There was a double-decker bus and I fell down the stairs going to the cinema, going to see that film. And like, I don't remember much about being in the cinema, but all I remember was like Jabba's palace. There's a bit of space, and then the Ewoks,
Mm,
which like that was my first memory was, and then it was all my toys were always Star Wars, which I always had Star
yeah.
Wars toys
How old were you?
every Christmas. What age was that? I was like 6.
Okay.
So
So I
yeah, it
was
came out just
probably,
before it came out just after I turned 6. 1985, wasn't it? So it came out just
no,
after
Jedi was 83.
4. I was 4 or 5.
Because
Yeah,
I missed them all in the cinema. And for me, it was, I think we touched on this the other week. They showed them all in the mid to late 80s on Christmas, didn't they?
yeah, it was a big Christmas thing, isn't it? They always showed them every Christmas.
I caught the end of Empire one Christmas. And I just remember tuning in as Luke's gone flying down the tube. He bounces off the aerials on the bottom of Bespin. And I remember being captivated by it because he's speaking to he's
Yeah,
dangling off a thing. There's a spaceship flying away, but he's speaking to this girl on the spaceship who comes back, picks him up, and flies off. It was sick. And then I think after that, my parents bought me Return of the Jedi on VHS.
yeah. I
And
think everybody had those in VHS.
they
Staples.
only bought me the one to just see how I do with it. And they bought me the last one. They don't buy me the first one. They bought me the last one. So obviously all of the great reveals were ruined for me. But I just remember being brutally captivated and it becoming just this all-encompassing thing.
Yeah.
And then the next thing that they got me wasn't the first two films. It was Super Star Wars on the SNES.
What a fucking game that was, by the way, because
Oh,
I think the Return of the Jedi one, you could go left and then do a backflip and you get an extra life.
mm. There was they did the three of them as games LucasArts, and I only had Super Star Wars, the first one. I did end up buying Super Empire Strikes Back secondhand a little while ago. But then because I was so into that as well, they were like, oh, we've got to buy him A New Hope and Empire, and that was it, I was gone.
Because like even the adverts, like
Yeah.
yeah, like even like the adverts at Christmas, it was all Star Wars toys, and I remember like it was like the
Yeah.
Return of the Jedi toys were coming out. It's like you would use your kitchen tables as Endor,
Mm.
but your tables and chairs, and then the next thing you'd be up in like a room with be like the Death Star.
Yeah. I actually inherited some Star Wars toys long before I properly watched it. So someone gave me the old single molded Chewbacca, where it was just like, he looked like a
Yeah,
hairy dildo, basically.
yeah,
And my dog chewed his foot. I was livid. But all of those little things, like the toys were amazing. Like I had a cousin who had the ATST that you press the button on top and the legs did that. Um, they were in back then, when you think about it. I know toys and everything have gone boom, 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 but it was that really set it all off. The tying in with the merchandise and the games, Dark Forces, Force Unleashed. Yes, I'll move on to no mind. Do not worry, mate. We've got everything covered tonight.
yeah. There's so much that we're probably going to end up having to do a couple of Star Wars shows.
Yeah, I think we might. But
Like
I tell you what, out of the first three films, obviously not one, two, three, four. We know what we're talking about. What strikes me now, looking back on it, is that I would say A New Hope and Empire, you could sort of see a lot of the budgets were going into the space stuff
oh
or the
yeah,
battle stuff. So the cantina scene, classic. That sets up Star Wars perfectly. And then you don't see another alien in it until Bespin, maybe. I don't think.
nah,
Oh
mate.
no, no,
Like
no, no. The New Hope. You see all the aliens in Mos Eisley.
mhm.
Chewbacca, yeah, you got to count Chewbacca. He hangs around for donkeys, so that counts.
But there's
But
also
then,
one other one you see,
which one am I thinking of? Hang on, you got me. Where?
the trash compactor.
Yeah, I suppose that's an alien. Yeah.
Isn't it?
A
Like
bit
it's
of a
trying to eat.
liberty,
It's
actually.
trying to eat. It's trying to eat. It's trying to eat fucking what Skywalker. So, aye, could you see it
Yeah,
pop up and looking?
yeah, it's a bit of a liberty because how did it even get there?
They'll put there because they eat trash.
So that's some deep lore, man. Like that would be
There's
like
probably a
imagine.
Star Wars story just dedicated to like yeah, like there's probably a story dedicated to the trash. I mean, I can't remember the name of it. I knew I should have looked it up. Or the species. I should have looked it up.
That's
But
actually that is actually showing how efficient the Empire were. Because not only are they just squishing all the rubbish down and shooting it out their arseholes when they go to hyperspace, they're introducing aliens to live in the bins to help them eat the rubbish.
yeah, and get rid of any organic waste and all that sort of stuff. So that was the kind of logic behind the trash compactor monster. I can't remember
It's
its
just a
name now.
shit-eating alien. But yeah, anyway, well, my point was like the Tatooine scenes are really where you get the sense of them going big in those
Yeah,
early sequences, like Jabba's palace, Mos Eisley. Um, we took the boy to see Labyrinth the other day, and you could really feel that's when the Jim Henson, all the alien creatures, and all of that, they were just balls for the wall. Let's fucking go for it. Like Jabba the Hutt having what was it, 4 or 5 different pocketeers, maybe 6,
I think there's like 3 people inside them.
3 inside the body, and then there was like 1 on a tail.
Hmm.
Someone's got an arm each, and all of that. I think it was the kids our age seeing that because it was all practical effects. It meant something, didn't it?
Oh, like even if you just look at Jabba's palace, right? 'Cause I think that's where we get the most diverse amount of aliens. Like all those guys and the Mon Cala and the kind of Squid peoples. Fuck man, my mind's going
Yeah.
blank. All the
You had
species
the
now.
Quarren were the ones that had like the squiddy heads and the tentacles,
Yeah, and you
and
had
then
like
one
the
had Mark.
Gamorrean guards. Like
Mm.
all of them had people in them. So like the costume department itself, and then
Yeah,
you had Salacious Crumb, like which was a Jim Henson
he,
monster.
he's
You know what I mean? Like
just even the fact that that's his name. Like you can talk. Anyone that's seen Star Wars will know about the little dude that hangs on to Jabba's tail. But if you test them, you're like, "Who's Salacious Crumb?" That's how you know.
yeah, there's like you could ask like people like oh who's this character, but it's like those wee characters you see like Lando's androids. Like if people say they're a Star Wars fan, that's another question you
Lobot,
catch them out with. Huh?
Lobot, bruv. Lobot,
Yeah,
bruv.
yeah. That's another one that you catch people out with. Well, what's the robot's name? Uh, but I mean, it's such a massive thing. Like some like Alec Guinness made more money
Mm.
doing Star Wars than all these other films put together because they took rights on the toys.
Yeah, he was the only one that saw the financial viability of it, and he was like, "If kids buy the toys, I can make a bank here." And he was like, "Fuck it."
Yeah, and that was all because of like even like the things that George Lucas took other things he obviously took from Star Trek, he took from Flash Gordon with the opening
Mm.
troll, like he just picked up in Seven Samurai, like a lot of samurai films, he picked them up and it's basically just like
Yeah,
fairy tales, like
yeah.
an old man, a wizard. Like if you bring it down, it's
It's
just
King Arthur. It's
fairy tales.
Arthurian legend a little bit. Yeah, like Han Solo's definitely you could say is Lancelot. Obi-Wan's Merlin. You've got. I think this is something I was thinking of earlier was that he borrowed from so many different things, which nowadays we would just call out and out stealing.
Hmm.
Like the desert planet is Dune, like you say, the different fairy tales, the different magical fairy tales, the samurai legends. But then in doing that, he then created more and was able to get more out of into other people's minds. Like, yeah, faster than light travel, Star Trek and its warp speed. But then when you think about faster than light travel in what brought us together in the 40K universe, they travel through the warp, and you got all these various other little bits and bobs that you use navigate. He's very clever in how he's done it all.
Yeah, like
He made his bank off of it.
100%, mate. Like I read an unofficial autobiography from him, and in between, I think he said to his dad, I think his dad was like giving out to him when he was younger about being a film director. He said, "You're not going to make any money." He says, "I'll make $1 million. I think I'll make 5 million or something by the time I'm 30." And he bankrolled the entire budget on himself for Empire Strikes Back because Fox had 20th Century Fox had put him under so much pressure to get it finished.
Yeah.
And really the person that gave them the chance took a punt on it as well. And for the budget that they had, they were bastardizing model ship sets and doing drive-bys, doing explosions.
It's the famous sequence of A New Hope when they're doing a Death Star run. They talk in the interviews like how they just went out and bought a load of different battleships, half made them, glued them all together in what looked like an order.
And somebody in the back of a pickup truck driving.
Boom. That would have been an amazing job. What do you do in your day? I film someone blowing up toys for a multi-million-dollar series.
And the problems that you had with the British film crew and the aspect of them at 5 o'clock, right, that's us finished for the day. They wouldn't go by their working hours because they had better tax breaks in the UK, but then there was the unions and
they'd all have their tea breaks as well. And he's like, we're in the middle of fucking filming. What do you want a tea break for?
Union, do you know what I mean? The unions were powerful back in the early 70s, and then he bankrolled Empire Strikes Back, and he proved his father wrong by making so much money because he took a load of money on the toys because he seen it with Flash Gordon that there was an opportunity there, but it never really picked off. But he seen that with the right marketing, he would make, because he made his money in the toys from A New Hope, that he could, and that basically set up what is.
When you think about that as well, right? That in the 50s and 60s, if you had a series, there was a toy range. That was a given. But then how big Star Wars got, that then in the 80s, they were making toy ranges, but then designing cartoons for the toy ranges rather than making a cartoon and then designing the toys around the cartoon, like Transformers, the GoBots, all of that madness, He-Man. Everything was toy line first, then make what we're going to do, put on a telly to force the toys on the kids. And
even for things that we couldn't watch because we were too young, like Aliens. There was an Aliens toy range.
There was.
There was a Terminator toy range. That's films that we weren't allowed to see at 5 or 6 years old.
When you think about that, it's insane. They're still doing that nowadays. I can't remember what the film was a little while ago, but there was definitely something that came out, and it was. We'll move on to Clone Troopers, bro. Stay there, Jahan. Do not go anywhere. We've dedicated half an hour to each sequence of films. But that sense of marketing, of getting the kids in. I tell you what, that's my head in. Oscar keeps banging on about this K-pop Demon Hunter show. He's never watched it, but because all the kids in school like it, all the kids have got the merchandise, he thinks he likes it. And that's enough, I think, of how genius Lucas was in tapping into the toy market. Did you watch the Toys That Make Us episode on Netflix about the fact that they needed to market the Jawa? And they were like, oh shit, we haven't got a cape for it. What do we do? So the guy just cut his sock up.
Yeah.
He's on the plane. He's like, rip my sock up, bang, there you go, there's his cloak. And then that range actually had fabric capes.
Yeah, but I think when the range first came out, I think it's either the fabric capes or the plastic capes are the ones that the collectors look for now.
Yeah, I think it's
because they were limited and
just even that Boba Fett designed for New Hope couldn't make it work, but they still had the designs for it. So they're like, we'll stick him in the next film, but let's make a toy of him. Let's hype him up now.
Well, the Boba Fett. Well, the Boba Fett costume was actually supposed to be the Stormtrooper outfit. I think it cost too much to make. I think it was it was more of a budget thing, but then they realised that they could have a kind of anti-hero with Boba Fett.
And the backpack that worked. I saw one of them once on Antiques Roadshow. A guy actually had two of them. Yeah, one that didn't work and one that did. And the Antiques Roadshow guy was like, okay, look, the one that don't work, it's still a collector's art, and you probably get a couple £100. The one that does work, that's £10,000.
Yeah.
And he just,
Big
without
money.
blinking, he was like, the guy was like, you what? I was like, yeah, that's 10 grand. Even unpackaged, that's 10 grand because the thing still works.
Yeah.
And actually, you know what? It's even the lasting legacy of it, isn't it?
I think what kept I kind of think what kept Star Wars going was the games.
Yes. Yeah, definitely. The games and the books. And I was going to touch on the expanded universe. Because obviously it's something that we've mentioned before. We mentioned it last week with our guest Den, that, there was such a lasting legacy of it that, and you mentioned the week before, Dunk, about the Thrawn trilogy, Outbound Flight, the new Thrawn trilogy, everything that they've done to keep certain characters live and active. But that was only because I think Lucas in part was a little bit like, I could continue making a bit of money here. Let's enter some deals. Let's do some bits and bobs. And it worked. Because people loved it so much. People wanted continuation stories.
And I think what worked with it so well as well was that anything storyline wise had to go through Lucas and the people at Lucas Studios. So like the Gamorrean Guard that we see, one of the Gamorrean guards that we see, one of the Gamorrean guards that we see in Return of the Jedi has his own storyline because it turns out he's trying to solve a case. Like it turns out he kind of Sherlock Holmes with.
This is Tales of Jabba's Palace, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He carries about this dead body looking to solve a case. Even like the robot, the android in Jabba's Palace that tortures other robots, that wee blinking thing is a sensor that gives it pleasure, and that has a story about it itself as well. Even like that, the stormtrooper in A New Hope that looks at looks for droids. That's apparently Davin Felth, who was then sent from there from AT-AT school by General Veers. Like all these people have like characters that you don't even think about have wee silly backstories.
Yeah.
But all that had to go through Lucas Studios.
I tell you what, the big game for me was that, and I know I might have brought it up before.
Yeah, that's right, Jehan. They were monks, and I think one of them has a story about it as well. They weren't happy that Jabba overtook their palace and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, there was a PC game that was like a resource management game, but it also had space battles, and it was called, over here it was called Star Wars Supremacy, but in America it was called Star Wars Rebellion, I want to say. And it was a really, really basic game. You can go look it up on YouTube. But part of the charm of it was it had this encyclopedia function. And someone had spent ages categorizing all the planets in the galaxy, putting them in different sectors, giving backstories to some of the minor characters that might pop up a split second on the screen. But then they've also borrowed from like the Dark Forces games, from the Rogue Squadron books. They just went bing, 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 bing. And I tell you what, I used to spend hours on that game just reading the encyclopedia articles, because they even had, like, in the old canon, the designer of the Death Star, you could recruit him in your Empire campaign, and he had the abilities to like research everything. So you could like get the new spaceships. It had like the interdictor ones that would gravity wells. It had all the different TIE fighters in it. It was insane, the detail they went through. And it just wasn't. It was a great game. It was amazing, great. The details on the space battles were sick. But the only fall down was you couldn't control ground troops on an invasion. So like when you're attacking a planet, you couldn't control them on the ground. If that was
you end up having like Star Wars Empire at War, where you could
that's what it turned into, yeah.
And then they had the expansion pack. Like I always bypassed the ground battles and just did the space battles. Like,
the space battles in Empire at War were much, much more difficult, but they were also more rewarding because like you had all the different space stations that be flirting around, and yeah, you could target specific gun platforms on them and stuff and all of that.
Yeah.
That was a great game.
And I found I would always try and do like galaxy domination and like try to keep a track of all the systems that you're holding in the hyperspace links. And then you'd have like, I would always go to Empire and you then see like C3PO and R2D2 infiltrating Kessel, and then you're
Mhm.
fucked and you're like, box. And then before you know it, Admiral Akbar about 10,000 X-Wings and 30,000 Y-Wings come out of nowhere and like absolutely destroy one of your like central systems. Like,
Yeah, that used to happen in Supremacy. Like, you could always guarantee if you were the Empire that at some point in the game, a huge rebel fleet is attacking Coruscant. You don't know
Yeah.
when it will happen. It will happen. So my plan, in the end, I got so good at doing it that I would build a Death Star to defend Coruscant.
going,
And anytime they dropped up, it was like, I just picked their ships off from orbit. I wouldn't even have anything defending. I wouldn't have any spaceship like fighters because I had the planetary shield. And I was just like, right, let's play Palpatine, destroy that, destroy that, destroy that. It was great fun.
yeah,
But,
I mean, so many memories, like, and so many books as well. Like,
bloody, like, I didn't even have all of them, but I had a good chunk, and it was like 30 odd books.
yeah, same as that. Like, I think they're all. I think a good lot of them are still up in my mum's loft as well.
You have to
Yeah, I
think
mean,
of that. I remember 4 deaths. That's just showing off, Jan, if you've got 4.
yeah, that's just short.
I
No
had-
one has more than 3.
I had 2. I had 1 for defense and 1 for attack. So it got to the point by endgame, I was just going around to different rebel planets, just like, blow that up, blow that up. Oh, look, there are bases there. Let's blow that up. I win the game. That's just really showing off.
My mate had a game called X-Wing and versus TIE Fighter, and you'd have to, like, it was a PC game, remember that? And you had to, like, calibrate your shields when you were doing the trench run. That was a savage game.
You know what? The X-Wing, the TIE Fighter, and X-Wing versus TIE Fighter games, I think, were great flight simulators. And again, they did a lot for the expanded lore as well, because that's when the TIE Defender first popped up in those games. And that was always my favourite TIE Fighter, just because it looked so different. It's just like, here's this fist with backwards, like the interceptor wings going the other way. And it was quality. Again, something else that I like Filoni's brought back, but we can move on to that. But even as Jayhan's just saying, like, and you've said that the books and the games kept everything alive a lot longer. It could have faded off into the distance, but because those things kept everything rolling, we then got the anniversary editions in the late 90s, early 2000s of the films.
But the thing is, as well, there wasn't a bad Star Wars game. All the games were solid. Like Lucasworks did some fucking pretty shit hot games. Like,
yeah. And you think they didn't just do the Star Wars ones? They did. I remember they did in Indiana Jones ones back in the day.
Yep.
Oh, the Dark Horse comics as well. Yes, forgot about them.
Well, I suppose if anybody wants to jump in and chat Star Wars with us,
go for
it. Go for it, because we'd like to learn about your first experience, maybe your favourite character. If you've got any questions you want to try and stump us with,
the Dark
at
Horse comics did a series of one of the Imperial Guard after Palpatine died. I can't remember the guy's name, but he sort of went rogue, but in a sense that when you've got all the different warlords fighting over the remnants of the Empire, he was going around and just knocking them all off and saying, "No, we're the Empire. Palpatine lives, motherfucker," and he was just killing everyone.
Hey guys, how's it going?
And there's J.S. trying to do it, buddy. I cannot see you, but I can hear you, so that's great.
Nice.
I can see his pretty little face.
Is he dancing around wearing a stormtrooper helmet?
Unfortunately not, but I'm expecting a stormtrooper helmet with some cat ears at some point, or a Bo-Katan hat with some...
I've got a stormtrooper helmet. I'll bring it down for you. You do sexy dance.
I've got a Mandalorian helmet.
There you go.
But does it have cat ears though?
I was going to glue some cat ears to it, but I didn't get around to it.
What was the first Star Wars film you've seen in the cinema?
I was born 86, and the first time I watched them was on VCR.
Yep.
That was because my 2 older brothers, they got taken to the cinemas to see all of them. And yeah, I got left. It was I think it was weird because the first one I think I watched was Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah, you did it out of sequence like me. Yeah.
Mm.
So
So I always remember when I was a kid, it was always the Hoth, the Wampa that scared the shit out of me.
oh mate, you know what? Those things. I don't know if you ever played the Shadows of the Empire game.
Yes, yeah, of course, man.
When they used to pop up in that, I just put my pants and run away because
They were hard as well. They were to take them down.
They were just a liberty. There'd be like one room you'd walk into, and there was 3 of them, and you'd be like, "Oh fuck's sake!"
I was just trying to see if I could find my it's behind all my pile of shame. I've got the limited edition like CDs, like all 8 games of the old classic ones.
So like Dark Forces
All the
2.
CDs as well. Yeah,
The Jedi Caliber games are solid as well.
Mm.
What?
A while back, I bought them like for £1 on Steam, which was just
I did the same.
Yeah, and I just stored them in my library.
I don't even have a proper gaming PC at the moment, but I saw they were on sale. I just logged onto it on my phone. I was like, boy, next time I get one. New Knights of the right. Ooh,
Yeah,
I did not see that.
yeah. There's new Knights of the Republic coming out.
Yeah, they really, what I would like them to do with that is actually go and redo the second one, because the second one was so badly rushed. Because like the person that was supposed to be the hardest boss was actually really easy to kill. Like, it was ridiculous because they just rushed it out because of how successful the first one was.
You know what?
They should have just spent a bit more time.
I was thinking about this as well yesterday. The Knights of the Old Republic. I think it's now a good time to move into the prequel trilogy now that Jay Han's joined us, because obviously he's Clone Trooper fetish. And we can talk.
I don't know if you've seen that. Like Zombie Troopers.
I can't see it.
Oh, yeah. Can't see it.
I'll catch up in the replay. The Knights of the Old Republic intro videos were, I think, some of the best computer game cinematics ever done.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, because they proper captured. You had the first game, you had them fighting in the Jedi Temple, which looked sick. Then you had the battle above Korriban, which was bad, man, because the Sith Lord at the end's like, "Oh yeah, we've got our planet back," and his mate's like, "Yeah, welcome home," and just kills him. It's like, oh, yes. And
even in the first game, you went back to you found out all about the Sith.
I remember, right, if we're going to talk about the prequels, I saw all 3 prequels in the cinema because I could then. I had my own money. I was old enough.
Yeah.
And I thought they were pretty decent. And I'm not even like looking back on this with like rose-tinted glasses, because we all know that although George Lucas is great at writing something, he can't direct for shit, because that's why he didn't do Empire and he didn't do Return of the Jedi.
Yeah,
I still think they were pretty bloody decent films in the sense of how everything worked.
My experience when I first watched Phantom Menace, I had a kid kicking the back of my seat, so it did make it awkward for me. It was like fucking. But yeah, it was like I like rewatching the prequels. Anyone that hates them now, I'm like, no, they're actually really good, like for what they were.
Attack of the Clones hasn't aged well. Like the cinematography and the special, there was too much green screen in Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, I think because the whole end sequence of them being on Geonosis is another desert planet, but it's more Texas desert than North African desert.
It's kind of like Mars. It's kind of like the Mechanicum in a way, but with bugs.
And I did enjoy the battle sequences, though, in both of the films. I thought they were good. Phantom Menace gave us the best lightsaber fight ever.
Yeah, definitely.
You cannot say any other film beat Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan taking on Darth Maul. You just can't.
I don't know, man. I still think Revenge of the Sith has the best. I would go, my best lightsaber fights, right, is Revenge of the Sith, Attack of the Clones, and this is going to be an unpopular one, the Acolyte lightsaber battle between Creamer and the guy for Squid Games. I thought that was an amazing an amazing battle.
I still ain't seen the Acolyte. I haven't, but for me, it's Phantom
Do
Menace.
yourself a favour.
I think Phantom Menace, Return of the Jedi. I know it's not much of a battle because it is just the style isn't there of it all, but it's what it means. And the same with Empire. It's the feeling of them rather than the actual fight choreography and what they're doing. Because in Empire, he doesn't want to kill his dad. He's trying to turn his dad back to goodness. Dad's like, fuck you. My boss told me I've got to beat you up. And in Empire, it's more like Luke's angry because Vader's fucking everything up. And Vader's like, you don't know the truth. The whole way through it and just toys with him, bullies him. And I thought the feeling of those two fights, I think, is what makes it for me. And then I would go Revenge of the Sith and everything else.
I still say to people, watch the Acolyte, but just bypass all the kind of flashback witchy stuff, because it does ruin the Skywalker story quite a lot. But if you just focus in on none of the witchy stuff,
Guys, I want to come back 1 second, okay?
Yeah, and focus on everybody else, then it's actually a pretty good show. Like,
I have to give it a look. I do have to give it a look because I think I should give it the credit it might be due. I've been doing that with some of the more recent Marvel films that come out that I ain't watched, and I've sort of been like, you know what, fuck it, just give them a look. Andor is the best Star Wars show, without doubt.
Well, see, I would disagree with that, and this is my logic behind it, right? Clone Wars, I mean, I was saying live action or cartoon because Clone Wars and Rebels is probably the best lore because it's Lucas and Filoni. Like,
So
with Andor, that's nothing really to do with Lucas and Filoni, but with Rebels and the Clone Wars series of TV shows, series of TV, that is that's straight from Lucas and Filoni. So, like, even in Rebels, the meeting of Maul and Obi-Wan again, like, there's so much, even because Sam Witwer had a good bit of input with that, because, like, if you watch that fight, he goes, Maul hasn't learned anything from the Phantom Menace.
Yeah,
Obi-Wan has, and that's how he defeated him so quickly, because he seen the stance that Obi-Wan took was the stance that Qui-Gon took, and Maul realised this and went, I'm going to beat him easily. And then he changed just at the last second.
Even that touches on the sense of the modern, the prequel trilogy and all the fight choreography and it going into proper martial arts was amazing. But in that little sequence of the Rebels, it goes from, he does his stance and you're like, okay, it's going to be modern choreography, he's going to wreck shit, it'll be sick. And then all of a sudden he goes from boom to boom and just takes that old samurai pose.
Yeah.
And it was a traditional samurai fight. 1, 2, 3 blows, done. It was proper Kurosawa levels of thought that went into it. I won't say it is Kurosawa levels of output and what it looks like, but it was that well done. It was, yeah.
And because the fight didn't last long either, because you're thinking that it's going to be a long, drawn-out fight. It lasts for, 3-4 seconds, if that, and it's like, wow.
But when you're looking at, I think if you imagine being in that universe, if you're a bog standard bloke watching these two Jedi go at it, in real time, that's how quick it would be. But in the films, when we're watching it and they're like flushing it out, making it last 10 minutes because they're going bang, 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 but how fast they're going. To the naked eye, I think it was one of the training sequences that Braveheart was doing with Ewan McGregor. They had to tell him to slow down, didn't they? Because they were going too fast for the cameras to proper catch it, which was mustard.
Just to your point, Sons, like, for me, I thought the first season of Andor was shit until he went to jail. I thought it was just far too slow, and I was close to giving up on it. And then when they went to jail, it picked up and it got a lot better. There's a lot of things that I would like to have seen at the end of Andor, which I thought, for me, I think I said this before on the show, for me, the last scene in Andor should have been the first scene of Rogue One, where he meets your boy with the gammy arm, and then that should have been his meeting. That, for me, that would have been a total circle. Like, the circle would have been complete.
They did sort of give it a nod in that last sequence. They were off to meet him. Obviously, they didn't just. You could have just easily edited that scene on the film into it quite easily, but they chose not to.
But I think for me, the best TV show, and I think it really does go through the seasons, would be the first season of The Mandalorian, because that was like very old school 77 and 80 stuff. It wasn't too heavy relying on green screen, and it was just Star Wars. And then Ahsoka, for me, I think Ahsoka is a fucking great show.
Yeah, I'll give Ahsoka its dues. I will agree with you on The Mandalorian as well. I didn't enjoy Series 3.
Bringing back Grogu was a mistake for me. Like he still went to Skywalker, and then we know that Ben Solo chops him up. You know what I mean? I'd have been happy with that.
So yeah, I think that the first series of that, it did sort of. I think there was the running joke of someone did of The Mandalorian, where it was like every episode felt like a computer game mission. It's like, oh, what have I got to do now? I've got to go to this planet. Oh, what have I got to do now? I'll go to that planet. Oh no, Baby Yoda drank blue milk again. Everyone laughs at the end. But it was still enjoyable because it tapped into that old school sense of what Star Wars was. And yeah, they did, as Vresh just says, they needed to spend at least a whole season where it was just, here's the Mandalorian done.
And also as well, it was more nostalgic than The Force Awakens.
Yeah, I was going to
an IG-88 unit, you had a Baby Yoda, you had a fucking Mandalorian, do you know what I mean? Like, you had the Imperial Bite Strikes at one point getting fucking tripped up with rocks. Like,
you did have that one episode where there was all the mini salacious crumbs clinging off a tree, and you're like, oh shit, that's where they come from. That was a nice little...
People were eating them as well. People were eating them in the market as well.
I think even Book of Boba Fett had Mando in it. Yeah, I didn't enjoy Book of Boba Fett.
That
I
was a
felt
mistake.
like he could have done better. We've obviously talked about Book of Boba Fett before. I think let's not spend half an hour ranting about it, because we would do, wouldn't we?
Oh, mate.
I tell you what, though, and actually on just something that annoys me, and I think this is the perfect segue into that. Obviously, we were talking about the prequel trilogy a minute ago. There was a point where George Lucas did his big reset, wasn't there? And he just, right, okay, everything that's come before this point is now considered legends. Anything else that comes after this will now be the new canon. And it was the Clone Wars that proper started that off, the cartoon, the Clone Wars. Because we'd had the shorts that were done by the Samurai Jack guy first, which were fucking amazing. Mace Windu taking on an army of droids just by punching the shit out of them was the dog's bollocks. I don't care what anyone says, it was fucking sick. But I remember thinking when I read about it that I was like, okay, so I've invested years of my life into this, and now you're just going down the route of this weird CGI cartoon, which doesn't really appeal to me. And I'm not going to say
it was good, but the lore in it.
I didn't give it like it was on the Disney Channel, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, but don't get me wrong. Neither did I. I didn't watch the Clone Wars the films until COVID. But I'd seen a few bits. One of my best mates, Sandra Scobie, was banging on about how it's the most bloodiest TV show. There's such a high body count.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to learn so much. And he says and the reason it put me off was because of the Clone Wars film that Filoni did, because Ahsoka was so fucking annoying in it. That put me off. And no, they've totally changed Ahsoka in the TV show to what she was in the film.
And yeah, actually, as Vresh has just pointed out, the Clone Wars, the one that first came out, is when they first introduced Grievous as a character. And that intro scene where you've got all the Jedi in the crashed destroyer, and Grievous just goes in and wrecks them, is insane. Watching that back now, even now, that holds up. And actually, as Resh has also just pointed out, where you're talking about death count, Chopper in Rebels has got the highest death count in anyone in Star Wars.
Probably.
Because like he just all the little casual things. Oh yeah, here's a joke. I've just wiped out an entire Star Destroyer. You're like, what?
Yeah.
He's an R5 or something, I think.
Yeah.
But he's got a death wish. Like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, and this is all came from literally, it's like the imagination of the guy, and then in his spare time, he was fucking making up fucking Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I feel we need to touch on Indiana Jones a bit, because we can't not, because
Star Wars is an Indiana Jones. Like in the Temple of Doom, they go to the Kenobi Bar. There's hieroglyphics in Indiana Jones and whatever it is.
It's the first one, isn't it? When you're in the.
But really, Indiana Jones should have just kept out, because really, the Nazis would have found the Ark, they would have opened it, and they would have died. So basically, he really did nothing.
He didn't have to.
He didn't have to.
You know what though? Like and this is something again I've been thinking about so much this last couple of days on the run up to this. That Spielberg and Lucas were mates.
Yeah.
During all of this, and then I think there was like little bits of Empire and maybe Return of the Jedi that Lucas was like, "Go on, have a go on directing this for me for a minute," and then Spielberg returned the favor, and then they were just like let's just do our own thing together, and that's what became fucking Indiana Jones. But also, it made, when you look at everyone that's been in all of these films, you would not look. Han Solo was a charismatic motherfucker, but you would have probably have thought Mark Hamill would have been the one to get the better career out of them all.
Yeah,
but it wasn't.
I think it came down to typecasting for him, which was a shame, because I think he was in Big Red One after.
Yeah, he was.
Then he did a lot of great film, and then he did a lot of, and I think he just went into voice work, like he was the voice of the Joker and the Batman stuff.
He did a lot of. I remember him being in Sequest DSV.
Yeah,
which was a great show. It made no sense, but it was great. And I was reading something the other day, because I watched the Amadeus series and then the original film. He auditioned for the 80s film to be Mozart, because he also was doing, apart from doing the TV gigs, he was also doing Broadway. And he played Mozart on Broadway, so he applied for and auditioned for it. But again, like I say, he was so typecast that the director was like, "You're Luke Skywalker, I can't have you be Mozart. It would just be too surreal." Which, and yeah, that's Jahan saying he's also done over 34 different anime characters, and my favourite role of his was the Cockknocker.
What was that in again?
Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Yes, right, aye.
Why are you the Cockknocker? Well, it's a running joke. I've got it. Right. That was such a weird cameo, but it was like, fuck it works.
But can you name 2 characters of Star Wars who have appeared in Indiana Jones films? Well, the person that played them, they played different parts, but can you name...
the actors that have appeared in them?
Yeah, 2 different British actors, shall we say, that appeared in...
I want to say
Indiana
the guy
Jones.
that played Admiral Peart was in one of them.
No, he wasn't.
I thought he was. Shit.
But you're going down the right line.
It's always the sweaty Empire guy, isn't it? I'm brain farting. I bet one of them was a Nazi. Anyone in the chat, if you know the answers, jump in, because it's not just for me. Come on.
One of them was the most Naziest of all the Nazis.
One of them played Hitler.
Yeah.
Oh, was it Ozzel?
Yeah.
Yes. As soon as you said it, I'm thinking, hang on. And you work backwards. Oswald was also in Grange Hill. People forget that.
He was Mr. McCluskey.
It was.
And the other person that was in Star Wars, he was also in The Empire Strikes Back. General Veers, he is in Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade.
This is my favourite space Nazi. It's just, out of all the Empire, everyone in characters in Star Wars, it's Veers, because he's just like peak Erwin Rommel, except he's got tanks that walk.
And he was also fucking the Maester in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, and that was crazy because obviously he's so old as shit.
Yeah.
But it's just because of how he's hobbling around and being just such a weird old decrepit fuck.
But I loved that wee thing that they gave him in Game of Thrones where he was getting dressed and he was like dead sprightly, and then he put on the chains and pretended that he was a cripple and he was fucked, but really he was just at it, which was brilliant.
That was the best bit, I think, of all of Game of Thrones for me, was just everyone understanding he's not just some weird old sycophant. He's a bad man and he's playing the game the same as anyone else. But I'm all right. And it was after the prostitutes as well.
Yeah. What's that deal? You want paid? I think it was like he was trying to dodge a fare or something.
Yeah. There's loads of other little bits as well, like actors. I remember being in Star Wars that will pop up in other stuff when you were watching them as a kid. You're like, that's that motherfucker there. And it's all of those little things, like, just stick with you, innit?
I was right. This is a slight segue. It was definitely a segue out of Star Wars, just ever so slightly. I was watching Filth today, the Irving Welsh film that's James McAvoy.
Yeah.
See the lassie that he pumps in the police station, the secretary. She was in The Walking Dead. Right? I didn't even realise that she was actually Scottish in real life. Till I was watching it going, what the fuck is she in? I'm sure she's in The Walking Dead, and she's like I think she was in the later seasons, and she was one of the ones that gave Grimes over to the people that took him away. So I think her name's like Paloma. It starts a pure weird name, but I didn't even know she was Scottish. But it's so weird, like the people that are in Star Wars that you see in other things as well.
You say that, the big one as well, one that always sticks with me is there's an English actor in Phantom Menace who's the head of Padme's household guard.
Yeah.
With an American accent, but he was in like Casualty or some madness for time.
He's a doctor.
Yeah. And in the next minute he's running around in a space uniform, you know.
Because the pilot that is flying the Princess Amidala out of Coruscant to Coruscant and the Phantom Menace, he was in Alien 3. He was the stupid guard.
He was
19 or 29 they called him, because that was his IQ.
Yeah. Then even like
even though, sorry just to interrupt you there, but even it's just to say that even though Lucas had such a torrid time with the British and Pinewood Studios, he always went back to the UK to film.
Yeah, he did. There was that little sense of loyalty. Obviously, the tax cuts helped.
Yeah.
But I think it was also, at the time, the American unions and I remember the Film Actors Guild wanted to let out the contract. And over here, we were like, our actors aren't signing up to that. Just come on over and film whatever they fucking want. And I rate that, because it's just proper, like, you look at all Alien and Aliens were both filmed in the UK. Full Metal Jacket was filmed in the UK. There was so many big films at the time in the 70s and 80s where the American producers were like, it's cheaper to do it somewhere else, let's go to England. And because they speak English, we ain't got to worry about anything, and the crews are decent.
Yeah.
And I think that was, mine. We mentioned the toys that make us a minute ago, about like how they made all the toys and stuff. But they did the Aliens one on that, and that was quality. But
because there's bits of, if you watch Aliens, the guy that played Hicks was replaced halfway through, but you can still see the original actor, who's obviously a famous actor. He was Dexter's dad in Dexter, but he got kicked out because of drugs. But you'll still see scenes of him in it.
It's like, I think there's the bits where they turn around in the armory and stuff, and you don't see his face so much. They didn't like, if they could get away without reshooting it, that's what they'd do.
Yeah.
And fair enough. But I'll tell you what was weird with Attack of the Clones. I want to say it was. Mike had two cousins in the early 2000s that went off and travelled around Australia, and they were both carpenters. And when they were in Australia, they needed a bit of extra money. The government were like, "You're here for X amount of time. You can do X amount of hours worth of work. Any more than that, you're getting out of our fucking country," because Australians are mad for that. They both landed gigs doing the spaceships, building the spaceships in the desert for the Tatooine sequence. So they helped build Padme's shiny mirror cruiser thing. And
Nubian.
the stuff like that. And the pair of them were Star Wars freaks when they were kids. So they were like, holy shit, we're working on a fucking Star Wars film. They were buzzing. Didn't nick anything, obviously, because, they didn't want to get kicked out of Australia. But they had loads of different pictures with like different bits of the ship and stuff. And when they came back, they were like, look what we fucking did. And I was like, okay, arseholes, I hate you both. That's
cool.
But yeah, it's just, you probably aren't, I think, in the UK at any point more than 100 metres away from someone who's had something to do with it. Well, it's just been that big thing for the UK film industry.
Well, when they were filming The Last Jedi, they filmed bits of it in Donegal, and we tried to go up, and when they let us within about 15 miles.
I mean,
they weren't letting people, unless you actually lived there and showed that you lived where they were filming, they weren't letting anybody near it.
They got that protective over it all, haven't they? And I think that's only fair, because
100%.
They were building, I think it was when they were building, they had like the tail end of the Falcon sticking out for something, and someone was able to get a picture from a hill looking down on it. And actually, Martin, I did meet Warwick Davis here when he opened the Odeon in Queensgate. Got a picture of it. It's lovely. But yeah, it's just, I think that's the thing. There's so much hype about it. The moment they get the UK film industry and the press get a little bit of a win that there's a Star Wars film in the mix somewhere, they go mental for it. And it's fair, because it does generate hype, it does generate interest, and it's good for the British film industry.
Of course, and I think, it's escape, as it goes back to, it's escapism for us as kids. Well, we all live in our childhood. You know what I mean? Like, it's like the old-fashioned cowboys and Indians.
Yes.
It's like all the bad guys have the British accents. You know what I mean?
And I think that's probably, you know what, in a way, when you look at films where British people are the good guys through the years, the only one you can say is Bond, right? Bond's the only sort of typically British hero in all the films. And then when Star Wars rocked up over here and like, well, let's make all the British people the bad guys, that's been really good as well. Because you look at some amazing actors that we've had in films from Britain who probably would have never gotten a look in if it weren't for the fact that Star Wars rocked up and was like, what sounds like they could be bad guys? Let's get everyone speaking with an English accent.
Yeah.
Although don't forget that a couple of them in the Death Star did have proper American accents.
Yeah.
There's that one guy who's backchatting Vader at the start of A New Hope, and he's got some, I don't know what his accent is, but he's, holding her is dangerous, you know. Okay, bro. And then everyone was English after that.
Yeah, he was just a fucking line officer on a Star Destroyer, that's all he was.
It's still giving Vader some sauce. And then the next film, everybody gives Vader a bit of sauce, is getting choked. It's like, all right.
So, yeah. What I want to touch on briefly, because it's fucking something that I absolutely love as well, is the robot chicken Star Wars stuff.
Yes. I think that breeds a lot of love and hype into it. And as much as I'm not a fan of Family Guy, the Family Guy stuff does really well for it as well.
I've never watched any of the Family Guy stuff because I don't like Family Guy, so I've not actually watched Blue Harvest or anything. But for me, the robot chicken stuff, like where they portray Boba Fett as a jock, where they portray Ponda Boba and Dr. Evazan as Dr. Evazan's just a drunk arsehole who gets Ponda Bob's arm chopped off, and he loses his career in architecture because he's not ambidextrous. You know what I mean? Like,
That
That's
was one of
brilliant
the best
because
ones.
you don't know what he's saying because Dr. Evazan's fucking interpreting for him when he's
Yeah.
actually saying, I like your hair. Who does your hair? And he goes, he doesn't like you. You know what I mean? And
That
then you had like Princess Leia, she like Carrie Fisher did voices for Princess Leia. You had fucking Lando doing his own voice for Lando
yeah.
about the deal getting worse all the time. And he's, furthermore, you will wear this clown suit and ride about in this unicycle.
I think it was Robot Chicken, I think, because it was so just tongue in cheek and just didn't give a shit, did wonders for Star Wars. And the fact that they were just like, run with it, we'll back you, just go for it.
And they even had George Lucas do his own voice as George
Yeah.
Lucas. Do you know what I mean? Like, to
Perfect.
get the main man himself on, I mean, it might be a dick, but to go, yeah, I'll do my voice. I mean, that, like, when I went to watch A Phantom Menace, I know I'm jumping about here. When I went to watch A Phantom Menace, people were dressed up as 1977 George Lucas.
No, and I tell you what, actually, going back very briefly, but I think we could touch on new trilogy and the Disney stuff in a bit. I will say, just going back to Phantom Menace, Phantom Menace had one of the best spin-off computer games of all time,
Yes.
The Racer.
Yeah.
That is up there for me with F-Zero and the original Wipeouts for how hard it was and how fast it was.
Yeah.
Because you had to master some of those turns or you were fucked. And it got harder and harder and harder. And it was one of those sort of, it made no sense for them to make that as a game, but it worked. And it was like, yeah.
In the chat, what is your favourite Robot Chicken skit? What is your favourite Star Wars Robot Chicken skit?
I enjoyed the Boba Fett being a jock one, because didn't he do one where he was kind of like Steve Irwin?
Yeah.
That was a good one. And I think there's the bit where it's the Death Star getting blown up from Palpatine's view, where he's sitting in his boardroom and he's just chatting to his mates, and the opening line is, and then I threw the Senate at him, and they all start losing their shit.
Yeah.
Because that you can just imagine him being like your mate and just be like, I guess what I fucking did. And then it's like, for the next 5 minutes, it's like, you what? What do you mean the Death Star blew up? What? Oh, what? Han, so what the fuck are you talking? What? And it's just like that proper middle manager talking to high manager about something going wrong.
Yeah.
Perfect. And I know they do it in Comic Cons, but it's the Emperor going up the escalator.
Oh, I love that one. That's one of Luke's favourite ones. That's one of Luke's favourite ones. One of my favourite ones is well, Luke Skywalker's in Hoth, and he fires the harpoon up, cuts it open, and chucks a grenade in. But then in the Robot Chicken, it's a guy sitting reading a magazine in the toilet. For me, like those, and there's one where Obi-Wan Kenobi's going out on a date, and he's like, "You're an attractive man. You're an attractive man." And then there's
as Robot Chicken as a whole, I don't know, I'm going a little bit off tilt again. The first episode of Robot Chicken had one of the most liberty things about Optimus Prime dying, and it was just like, okay, this is where you're going with this show. It was like, let's just go balls to the wall, and you're like, oh, okay, nothing is sacred in this. Let's see where we go. And it was quality. But Jahan saying Leia in bed with Luke, great. It's just
there's even a skit where they have Luke refueling his X-wing in the middle of space, and then the Wampa with the one arm, it goes to fuel up his can, he drops his keys and all that, and they're just looking at each other as he flies by them. Like, some of them was
touching on that as well. I think you couldn't have any of this happen without Spaceballs.
Yeah, we ain't seen shit.
I know I put it on my stories the other day, but Spaceballs is the perfect parody. I love Mel Brooks films. I think he's amazing, some of the stuff he's done. But when he made Spaceballs and was just like, even down to the fact that he played a rip-off Yoda, and everyone's just like, yeah, we've just done this for the money. We've just done it. Yeah, he opens up his own fucking merchandising cabinet. Spaceballs the thermos, Spaceballs the lunchbox. You're like, fucking hell. And even like, as they're leaving his planet, it's like, will we see each other again? Maybe in Spaceballs 2, the quest for more money, and you're just like, fucking hell. Okay.
And they're making a Spaceballs to the quest for more money, which is what we all want.
Is what we all wanted. But yeah, so many good sequences in that. The guy from the police academy being the radar dude.
Yeah. Your boy Tuvok being one of the guys combing the sand.
Yeah. That sequence, Comb the Desert, we ain't found shit. Spaceballs the flamethrower. There's a sequence where they're trying to escape the Mega Maid and Barth rips the tube off the wall and all the lasers go down the tube and back out again and kill everyone that shot them. Your Schwartz is as big as mine. You could go on with that film. And
but even Hot Shots Part 2 had a lightsaber fight.
Yep. You know what? Actually, this is actually quite topical because I was listening to a podcast the other day, right? And it's Hot Shots Part 2 had this lightsaber fight between the American president and Saddam Hussein. Great. Who died the same in real life, right? Saddam Hussein's mental son had a private guard and all their helmets were modelled on Darth Vader.
Brilliant.
I heard that the other day and I was just like, yeah, that sums up how mental this guy could have been in real life. That they just go around and they were a horrible pack of cunts, a lot of them. But
I mean, if that's not giving you Megalomaniac vibes, then nothing else will, really.
No. But going back to Spaceballs, Mel Brooks, from what I've read of it and know of it, he proper went to George Lucas and was like, I want to do this. Are you cool with it? And George Lucas was just like, yeah, fuck it, go for it. Pizza the villain that ate himself to death. That's like, what the fuck?
Because I think with George Lucas, he came from nothing, right? And I think it's always going to come back to Star Wars. So he's people are then going to start watching the Star Wars films again to see to get these wee in jokes.
It's the feedback loop, isn't it? It's like, can I take the piss out of you? Yeah, okay, because people are going to come back to me and make more money, or I'll make more money. And fair enough to him. You know, he's a very, very clever man for it. And speaking of being a clever man, I think we should touch on the new Disney era. Let's call it the Disney era.
Yeah. How were your thoughts when they put everything like so? Part of the deal for Disney getting Star Wars there was that all the canon stuff became legends, right?
Well, they'd sort of done it before, hadn't they?
No, it was part of the Disney deal. They maybe I think it was part of the Disney deal was that anything that was before Disney was to give Disney a clean sweep of doing
So
films. How did you feel about that?
I was annoyed with it, I'm not going to lie, because the young Han Solo books I thought were really cool.
Yeah, they were decent.
And then they made the Han Solo film, which was shit.
I would disagree with that.
Yeah, I'm not here for it. You know what? I think I've said this before. As a standalone sci-fi film without the word Star Wars attached to it or any of the character names attached to it, I think it would be a decent sci-fi film. But in attaching all the names to it and making it more of a thing, I think it lost it. And I know it.
I'll give you my 2p's worth on it, right? Star Wars Solo suffered from what I see as 3 bad decisions. It came out 6 months after The Last Jedi.
Too soon. Yep, I agree with you on that.
It came out 2 weeks or 2 months after Endgame, which really didn't help it because it came out in the May.
Yeah.
Where Star Wars had actually cornered that Christmas market with The Force Awakens. So if they just kept it to
Christmas film
and let Endgame come out, it would have actually done a lot better. But people were still raging at The Last Jedi, myself included. I thought it was shite, but since rewatching it, I've actually understood what Johnson was trying to do. But yeah, it came out too soon after Endgame or the other, but whatever came. I think it was either the first Endgame film or
Endgame. I can't remember which one it was, but I think the main thing, like you say, was they were trying to flood the market a bit like the Marvel films would do.
Yeah, and
And it
it
wasn't
came
the
out,
right film to do it with.
and there's still that anger of The Last Jedi, and then with the Marvel stuff coming out, it kind of, and then not coming out at Christmas. They should have just left it to Christmas, because it's actually Ryan Eckenhard actually does portray a decent solo. Like there's a
Yeah.
apart from how he got his name, which is a bit shit,
That's
because
very
it kind
shit.
of takes away from the stories. But
The
there's actually a good.
meeting Chewbacca bit was kind of similar to the OG, how we met Chewbacca in that Chewbacca
Yeah.
was slave. And I thought that was cool that they at least sort of gave a nod and a wink. It's like, okay, let's not be a complete bastard and rip it all off.
And there's actually a scene that they cut from the film, which is a Star Wars fucking humour for me. Was when he's at his court martial and he says, "Oh, we're going to reassign you," and he goes, "Oh, that's great. When can I start flying again?" And the guy, I think it's a British actor, goes, "Oh, you'll be flying in no time." And it cuts to him getting fucking wang-changed across the fuck with an explosion, which is, for me, Star Wars humour. Whereas, I'm just going to touch on The Last Jedi briefly. Ryan Johnson putting in, "Oh, I've got a call from your mother." That's not Star Wars humour, that's Marvel humour. Whereas Star Wars humour is different. But
I think we can all agree that in Disney World, if we ignore the TV shows for a minute and focus on the films, Rogue One is the best one out of the lot.
yes.
I know Rogue One had its problems in production and stuff, and I'm a little gutted that in the trailer you see Jyn Erso walking up to the platform and a TIE fighter drops in front of her. And I remember seeing that on the trailer and thinking, oh shit. And then it didn't happen in the film, and there was various bits and problems with it. But I still think that is the best they've done. And the best thing about it was there was no connection to any Jedi. There was like, you had the Wills guys, which was a bit ancient. Again, leaning into like the samurai experience of it all. But they just proper were like, let's make this a war film. And it worked. And I think they should have done that more.
Yeah, and like at some point I did think that they were going to survive, and then
we know what happens.
Yeah, and for me, like, I know people say, "Oh, Darth Vader's probably the best villain," but for me, it's Krennic. Krennic is,
right.
And I mean, he's just a man that thinks he's better than what he is, and he's. We all have that sort of manager who thinks that they're going to be a bigger manager than what they are, but they've got so many serious flaws that they don't see their flaws, and that's why I like Krennic, because he plays that arrogance so well.
It's the human. I think Rogue One captures Krennic and the Tarkin very well for that, because you've got Tarkin's the upper manager who's just watching the mid manager fuck around and being like, when he's done with this, I'm going to swoop in and take credit, which was sick. And then Krennic played that slightly incompetent, over ambitious middle manager that will tread on anyone to get what he wants, for the CEO to recognize him.
Yeah.
But as you sort of touched on, makes a fuck ton of mistakes along the way and gets rumbled.
And because Tarkin points out his flaws halfway through the film, and then we get a good bit of Darth Vader humour going, "Don't choke in your aspirations." Like, come on, Vader. Choke me harder, Daddy. Choke me harder.
The Vader corridor, Mark, you're right. That wasn't, from what I know, that wasn't originally in the film. Like, the film was near enough done, and Kathleen Kennedy was like getting pissed off that there was no lightsabers in it. So they wrote that bit for it. And I thought that was the perfect bit, because we all know from the old expanded universe and the cartoons that Anakin/Vader is a fucking nutter when he wants to be. But seeing him just wreck that corridor, again, like you're saying, though, even that, his decision to go in there and just murder everyone, I get he's feeding on the fear, he's getting stronger in the dark side because everyone's shit scared of him. But he just walked in there, the plans are there, and he could have gone, force grab, and then I'll kill you all. But he got too eager in getting in there and chopping everyone up to stop them getting away. And again, that's that little bit of mid to higher manager getting carried away and over compensating. And it is also just an amazingly sick sequence.
and then Robot Chicken do the same corridor scene with Darth Vader just like mocking people. What's my favorite vegetable? Nuts. 1, 2, buckle my shoe, and then the stormtrooper then goes, but Lord Vader, what about the plans? Kind of messed that up, didn't I?
And I enjoyed as well, actually, when we were talking about the Mandalorian in season 2, that they gave a nod and a wink to it in Luke doing similar with the what do they call them? Not the Dark, was it the Dark Troopers? Yeah, the robot troopers that they were using in that battle droided stormtroopers, and he went in and did exactly the same thing. I think someone put them on YouTube, like the two of them, one on top of the other, and you could see how close the choreography sort of links to it, which was mustard. But you touching on The Last Jedi there. Let's face it, we all know that's the controversial one. I think you said it right that, fair enough, Rian Johnson was trying to do something a bit different. I think he was I hate that film. I am in no way defending him, but I will say he was let down from the start because he was writing at the same time that they were doing Force Awakens.
Yeah.
So he's going into that blind, and then when he sees Force Awakens, he's like, oh shit, I've got to change everything.
Yeah.
Or actually, he didn't change anything. That's probably the problem.
Yeah, and I think for me, just before I went to The Last Jedi, the Force Awakens ruined Finn. Like,
yep,
we had an opportunity of a stormtrooper becoming a Jedi, and then Rian Johnson basically just put him as a comedy character who was trying to get his Nat King Cole. Really, let's be honest, like he was a kind of a side piece character then, and it was just made fun of. Like the humour in The Last Jedi wasn't that good. Like I was giving out to my mate about The Last Jedi in the kind of casino scene, and he was like, out of all the films, that's probably the most Star Warsy thing of all the 3 sequel films. That sequence in the kind of casino is probably the most Star Warsy. It kind of does pay homage to the Kenobi bar and kind of and pays homage to some like Indiana Jones stuff. But since rewatching it, I think the message there was Rian Johnson saying like everything you know about Star Wars, forget it. But there's just no continuity between those 3 films, which ruined the Rise of Skywalker. Because also Rey didn't take any damage. Like I know she dies, and then Ben brings her back to life, but Darth Vader and Luke lost a fucking arm.
Yeah. You look about all the stuff of people wrecking each other during all of those films. Obi-Wan got done in the leg with a lightsaber, couldn't stand up. Finn gets a lightsaber wrecked up his back.
Yeah.
And in the next film, he's walking around absolutely fine. I'm sorry, that absolutely mullered him. That would have absolutely deaded, like, you're getting a lightsaber up your spine. You should be dead.
Yeah.
And
I think she knew all these, like, she knew all this stuff off the bat. Like, even Luke Skywalker had to get training off of Yoda, and he is the direct descendant of the Chosen One.
So we've also got my other problems with that film. The opening sequence, like you say, he's flying around, he's pretending to put the fucking Admiral on hold. Stupid. He does all this sick flying, shoots down all the turbo lasers. So the slowest bombers in the entire series can turn up and get wrecked.
It seems to be a thing that Disney have started doing. They put in really, like they had a really shitey slow chase scene in the Book of Boba Fett. They had a really shitey slow chase scene in fucking Kenobi, which should never have left Tatooine, and he should never have met Princess Leia. And then, as you say, had the world's slow. Like I'm pretty sure the Lancaster bomber could have outpaced that.
Continue with that, we've then got the rebels all run away, and suddenly after 7 films, spaceships need fuel.
Yeah.
Sorry, they've all got reactors. You don't need... What? That really did me in, that they all needed fuel. Then the next minute she turns around and just rams all these ships within hyperspace. So why didn't they do that all these years ago in other things? The casino sequence, the use of Benicio del Toro, I thought was shit.
Yeah.
And I think the worst sin is, like you say, he didn't understand Luke.
Yeah. And even George Lucas tried to speak to Ryan Johnson about it
Mm.
because he knows what cares Luke.
Yeah,
He just didn't listen. He wanted to do it his way.
Lucas did it. Even the fact that you got Mark Hamill sort of saying, I don't think this is Luke. And he's like, no, this is what we're doing. You know, the man that fought his dad to a standstill because he knew there was secretly good inside of his dad. The moment his nephew has a little bit of a waiver, I'm going to murder him. What? That makes zero sense to me. And it's got the worst lightsaber fight of all time in it.
Yeah. Like even if you watch it now, there's still bits that, like, one of the knives disappears that could have
Yep.
stabbed Ray.
The disappearing knife, you've got a bit where Ben rams his lightsaber into the floor for someone to then swing at it. Hello, Ryan. You're sort of circling in and out. He's waving to me. I don't know if he's still there or not.
Right,
I
still
can
there.
hear you, man. I can see Dunk is now loading and looking so. His facial expression is trapped in the exact, feeling I had about the Rise of Skywalker. It looks like this. So
Now Ryan's
Yeah,
correct.
The Rise of Skywalker, it fluctuates between the Rise of Skywalker and the Clone Wars movie as the two worst films for me. They're worse than Attack of the Clones, and I think Attack of the Clones is shit.
See, I said it the other week. I'll say it again. I still have not seen Rise of Skywalker. I don't think I ever will. I played the Lego Star Wars version of it, which I think is enough. I think that's all I need. But the bits of it I saw, the dead comedy, they can fly now. Oh, fuck off. And the worst line of all time, somehow Palpatine returned. No.
Yeah. Like, they'd set up so much in the Phantom Menace with the Knights of Ren and Snoke and all that, and then it kind of just, like,
Then they just
Ryan
shit
Johnson
themselves. And I think
bumped Snoke off.
Ryan's gone. But there was also, not long after it came out, I can't remember the previous writer-director that was attached to it, and they released all of his storyboards. It's like they all got leaked. And he had some wicked stuff in there.
Was that the one where Finn's getting tortured at the very start?
Yeah.
And he gets publicly executed? I think that would have been a fitting, because, like, just slightly touching on Rogue One. Rogue One, that was pretty much complete, and then they get rid of the two boys that did it and reshot it. That was a lot darker. And we've seen a lot of the dark stuff right at the start, where Andor just shoots your boy. Like, Star Wars needs a dark film, and The Rise of Skywalker, those storyboards looked as though it was going down that route.
Because you had them then attacking Coruscant and Coruscant getting wrecked. You had your man killing himself with a lightsaber, the main general traitor dude. And there was just so many wicked little sequences that would have looked amazing, and they just bottled and went back to, we got absolutely destroyed because we went different, so now let's try and make it safe again. What do people need is safe? Palpatine, bang, fuck off.
Yeah, and even Hux coming saying, I'm the traitor. It's like,
yeah, there's no lead up to it. There's no sort of hint, wink or nudge in any of the films. It's just dropped. Boom, it's me. And there was
because let's be honest, Hux was actually a decent villain and competent, like kind of Krennic to a degree.
Yeah.
But then he had that people feared him, but he was then made a kind of another comedy character in the Last Jedi when Kylo Ren would just wreck him. Whereas, like, you would never get Vader doing that to Tarkin.
No, Vader knew. I think it was the sort of the wink and nod that Vader knew good officers and how to treat them like Veers, like Tarkin, like anyone else. But if they were shit, he would go in on them. Piet got life repeatedly because Vader knew he was a good officer. He was vexing him at the end of Empire.
He gave him a chance. He gave him a chance.
Like, I think in Empire he's got the 6 across, hasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
But then in Return of the Jedi, he's back down to 3.
Well, I think because in every Star Wars film they changed they changed the kind of ranking structure, because even in A New Hope, like the bars are all different in every single film, because in Empire, he starts off as a captain. Admiral Oswald gets force choked, which is brilliant, and then he gets promoted to Admiral, gets a warning because he loses them, even though Han Solo's stuck in somebody's ship. And the only reason Boba Fett realised to check the garbage was because somebody had done that to him before on a bounty, and he learned from that. That's why he's the best bounty hunter in the business.
But there's even, I think, when you're talking about the ranks, you've got them all sitting around the boardroom, which again, I love that sequence. Not because obviously Vader just walks in and someone calls him, "Oh, yeah, your religion's shit, mate," so he chokes him. But it's peak middle management stuff. You've got them all sitting around the table, and it's all like, "Oh, mate, I've got this space station. My space station will fuck you up." And the other guy's like, "What? No, come on, what about this?" Tarkin walks in. Yeah, he's fucked the Senate off now, so we're in charge. And you're like, "Oh shit, that is just." It's a CEO. It's a business meeting. And then the guy gets a bit carried away, and Vader puts him back in his place. But actually, force choking, the Ozzel one is the best one.
100%.
Because he's not even on the same ship.
He's not even in the same system.
He's just sitting there he's like, "Oh, the fleet's come out of hyperspace." And actually, no, it was the same ship, wasn't it?
Oh, they're in the same ship. He's just getting his back to back.
But he's just coming out of his little egg, and he's like, you don't even see his hand move. You just see, "You failed me for the last time, Admiral." And the guy's like, "Fucking hell."
I mean, that is probably one of the most iconic lines. And after "I am your father," that's probably for me, because even the way James Earl Jones just portrays that anger, it's like, it's just way to say, for the last time, it's like, how many chances do I need to give you before you? Because every Imperial officer's retarded, really. Like, Tarkin is overconfident, and the Death Star doesn't fuck off from it.
Krennic is shit. Everyone else on the Death Star is a bit shit. Piet is scared. Piet is always scared, but somehow gets away with it. Piet is like the little weasel manager.
Yeah.
I think the best way, right, Stuart Lee did this joke about the Top Gear guys. And if you were to compare, the way he does it is like, you could have Jeremy Clarkson, he walks down an alleyway, he starts kicking a tramp, and he says, "Come on, James May, get involved, kick this tramp with me." So James May starts kicking the tramp. And then they say, "Richard Hammond, come on, Hammond, get involved." And Richard Hammond's like, "I'm just going to film it on my camera phone." That's Admiral Piet.
Yeah.
He's the one that just sort of hangs back, watches how everyone else does shit, and he's like, "Oh yeah, well, I'm not going to get too in deep. I just sit back and film you on my camera phone." A little bit incompetent, mostly competent, but when he fucks up bad.
Yeah.
Oh shit. You know what? This has just reminded me, right? You're talking about Piet, the Superstar Destroyer. This is my favourite deep cut thing. Did you play the Rogue Squadron games on the GameCube?
No.
That I did too, and both of them had Death Star 2 levels, right? But they were different. So the first Death Star 2 level on the GameCube, you were in the Millennium Falcon. You destroy it, you fuck off. The second one, you're in one of the A-Wings following the Millennium Falcon. And the Falcon turns left and off they go, and you're told you've got to turn right and get all the TIE fighters out. So you're playing the game, and you're like, "Okay, I'm outside now. Shit's, the Death Star's blowing up. This is happening, that's happening." And you get to a certain point, and there's a cut screen. You're like, "Oh, okay, I've won the game, cool." You're the pilot that spins out of control and kamikazes the fucking Star Destroyer. And I remember watching that, like, "Oh shit, that's dark." But it was so well done. Like, as a game, you have no clue what's going to happen. You're thinking you're the guy that says "copy gold leader" and flies off into the sunset. No. You're the bitch that crashes.
Here's a question for you,
right?
What is your favourite, apart from "I am your father," what is your other favourite twist out of everything that you've seen in Star Wars?
I'd say it's difficult because that is the iconic one. That's the best one. That's the big one. Somehow Palpatine returned could be up there, but I don't want to take the piss. I think it would be, you know what, it's not a twist, but it's when Obi-Wan in Revenge of the Sith realizes that Padme's kids were Anakin's, and he just sort of clocks, and you could see it doesn't happen, but you can imagine Ewan McGregor's like in that role, in that character, Obi-Wan as a character. I think at that time, stomach, because we've all had that clear moment of revelation at some point in our lives, and you're like, oh. And I think he says to Padme, "I will do what I must," or some shit.
Yeah.
And you're just like, fuck. I think that
kind of like that bit. That scene in the Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels where your man knows he's lost.
Yeah.
Show me his fucking cards, then. That's my London accent.
It is that heart in mouth, stomach dropping. You feel the cold trickle of sweat down your back. You're like, oh, okay.
Mine, right? You've played the Knights of the Old Republic game.
Yeah, but ages ago.
Right, so you're this Jedi, and the twist in the game is, right, that you're Darth Revan. Because you name your character, right? So I was calling myself Darth Sanchez, right?
The original Knights, yeah.
You don't realise, like, who do you think you are? Do you think you're Darth Sanchez? You're not Darth. You're Darth Revan. I'm like, oh my fucking! Because my mate Scobie put his name as Darth Revan, so then you're not Darth Revan. You're Darth Revan, and he's like, what?
No, I tell you what, that is a twist. I forgot about that twist. That is amazing because that game is so well written. There's so many good bits in it, and you don't see that coming.
No,
you honestly don't, because it's just so well done.
And what I liked about the second one was how you acted affected your co-op player. So if you went full dart, they would go full dart, which I really liked as well.
It did
but
that.
It was just rushed.
Yeah, the BioWare, the company that did it, really learned a lot from that, because they then went on and made the Mass Effect games, which I don't think, again, if they weren't given a Star Wars license and said, make that immersive, they would have not been able to do their own thing as good. I mean, tell me what about Mass Effect 3's ending being shit, but the fact that your choices in 1 and 2 still affected the outcome at the end of 3. And actually, I would say Mass Effect 2 has got the best Star Warsy sequence in it, in its final level, which is called the Suicide Mission. Where the whole, I don't know if you ever played it, Dunk, but
no, I never played Mass Effect.
So in the second one, you've got your crew of guys, they've all got their different abilities and shit, but the whole point of this, end of the second one is you've got one chance to defeat the final boss. And throughout it, there's 3 sort of different stages of it. You've got to pick teams to do a certain route, and there's only one route that you pick each way that everyone survives, and then that can affect the next game. And it was quality. And as Martin's just said there, the opening level of Mass Effect starts off with your ship getting attacked. In Mass Effect 2, your ship gets attacked and destroyed, which is exactly what happens at the same as Knights of the Old Republic. You wake up, your ship's getting attacked. You're like, wicked, and I was going to call him Jackie Onassis, but that was JFK's wife. The wicked captain dude, like, oh yeah, shit, I need help. We better wake him up.
Mm-hmm.
And it was perfect. I think that's probably Knights of the Old Republic is the perfect Star Wars game for story and the action.
Oh, yeah.
But that wouldn't have come off without Dark Forces or anything like that.
No. Right, I think that's probably a good point to call it time there. I think we should definitely do another one of these, because there's still so much we could chat about the TV shows and...
Yeah, I think we should. I think we should do like a deep dive. I also think tonight's been a good episode for us. And I'll say this to everyone, because we do mostly get Warhammer guests on. But the whole point of this show is you can come on and chat to us about whatever the fuck you want. Last week I was chatting to our guest about his favourite type of cake, because he runs a coffee shop. And I was asking him about his business and all of that sort of stuff. Like, we are here to chat to you about anything. It doesn't matter. So, I mean, I don't know a lot about Star Trek, but I'll happily sit here and talk Star Trek to people, because I like Deep Space Nine, I liked Voyager, and I have watched most of TNG.
Yeah, well, Next Generation, we all like Diana Troy. We all like Voyager for Kess and then 7 of 9.
I'll leave you on this one, right? 7 of 9 caused the world to be in the state it's in now, and I'm not talking about Star Trek. I'm talking about.
Oh, that's a good rabbit hole.
This is a good rabbit hole. This will be how we sign off the show. So her husband was running for the presidential nomination of the Republican Party, and she started divorcing him because he was cheating on her and doing sort of all madness, and it all came out in the wash. He had a really good, strong lead in the opinion polls over Obama, had to drop out. Obama wins the election. And it all goes downhill from here.
Fucking Borg. Fucking the world over.
They're not even real and they fucked us.
I know.
Yeah, but that's a madness. That's absolute madness. I love it.
Right, folks.
Yes.
We are back next week. We have Warlord Games, a guy from Warlord Games coming on next week.
Very
and
exciting.
then we dive into 2 female guests for February. And then we'll take it from there, folks. Thanks for joining us tonight. Thanks to Yehan for coming on and for Ryan
30 seconds, yeah.
for his 30 seconds, which is apparently is how long he lasts with his wife. But that's another story. Hey, folks, thanks for joining us. Inquisition at Orange Brushes for 10% off. Love yous all and see you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.